Hello everyone, welcome to the 5th lesson of the Pattern Language course. Today we shall be receiving two guests from the Directorate of Physical Planning, Kampala City Authority. We shall hear from Mr. Emmanuel Makya and Mr. Douglas Nsubuga. They will share about an overview of informal settlements in Kampala.
What happens outside the city affects what happens within the city. And that's why we talk about the Greater Kampala metropolitan area. This slide here, I'm trying to explain that most of the slums and informal settlements are located within the GKMA and the larger cities across the country. I wanted to stress the issue of GKMA so that you understand how it relates with KCCA. Now, the UN Habitat has also gone ahead to give us a definition that government of Uganda has adopted in some of the papers that have been written, the policies that drive or that manage informal settlements. And that's the definition I want to put across. According to the UN Habitat, an informal settlement or a slum is an area that combines to various extents the following characteristics: insecure residential status, inadequate access to safe water, inadequate access to sanitation and other infrastructure, poor structure, quality of housing, overcrowding. The definition also encompasses areas that attract high density of low-income earners. I don't know how many of us here stay in those areas, but maybe with time when you get a job, you'll shift out of those areas. Those areas also have high levels of unemployment. Then there are high levels of noise, crime, drug abuse, and also most of the houses, or all the houses, are almost in environmentally sensitive areas. Now, that defines what an informal settlement is according to UN Habitat, a definition that the government of Uganda has adopted in its policy formulation. Now, I want this slide here will show you, I don't know whether you're able to see, but from my vantage point, it is showing informal settlements in Uganda across the board. Kampala, Mbale, Mbarara, Chitugum, Entebbe, Fort Portal, Gulu, Hoima, Lira, Masaka, Moroto, Soroti, and Tororo. Now, those are the major towns or cities, if you want to call them. The population in Kampala alone is 1.6 million of those living in informal settlements. And Mbale is 992,000. And Mbarara is 195,000. Entebbe is 69,000. Fort Portal is 54,000. Gulu is 150,000. Hoima is 100,000. Lira is 99,000. Masaka is 103,000. Moroto is 14,000. Soroti is 49,000. Tororo is 41,000. Now, this data was collected some time back, but these figures, as we talk right now, have gone high. Now, they're also saying that using the population growth, this next row talks about the population growth rate, which according to Uganda Bureau of Standards is about 3.9. If you use that growth rate, in the next, by 2040, there will be 5 million people living in slums in Kampala alone, 160,000 in Mbale, 1.6 million in Mbarara, and the list goes on and on. What they are trying to build is that the issue of informal settlement is real. Informal settlements is real. Government has recognized that it is real, and there has to be a solution that government has to come up with. Now, what is that solution? Right now, I'll just go to the next slides. These ones I know you know, so I will not go into the causes of why we have these issues. But just for purposes, because we are students, I will just, one of the causes why we have informal settlements is urban poverty. You can be in an urban, you can experience urban poverty at different levels. as a citizen in an urban space. Why? How? Let me explain the concept of urban poverty. Let me just use an example that will drive all of us, that all of us can relate to. You open up a shop anticipating that I am going to come and buy from you. Now, when I don't buy from you, you're also not going to be able to meet certain other obligations. You may not be poor who opened up a shop, but me who is living in an informal settlement, who has no job, the fact that I am not able to buy from you, you share within the urban poverty. Okay? So that is one of the driving factors of these informal settlements. Lack of urban planning and development control. I'll just stop at those two. But what is government doing? Government now has come up with what they call a national smart slum upgrading and prevention strategy. I'll say that again. There is now, as a step, as a strategy to address the challenges of informal settlements bring, government has come up with what they call the National Smart Slum Upgrading and Prevention Strategy. Now, that strategy has a vision, it has a goal, it has an outcome, it has pillars, it has enablers, and it has principles. The goal of the strategy is to provide adequate housing for all, and the strategic goal is sustainable transformation of existing slums and prevention of new slums from formulating. That is the strategic goal. I will stop at that. But I will also talk about the pillars, because as KCCA now, we develop a strategic plan, on a smart plan on how to deal with slums from these strategic pillars that I will mention: smart governance, smart people, smart economy, smart living, smart mobility, smart environment. That is the path that KCCA is taking on how to address the issues of slums. Remember, I started by telling you that right now where we are, it is not very possible for you to deal away with the slum completely, because there is a certain benefit those slums bring to cities. So the solution is not to push them out, but how do we coexist? And that's why government is now talking about smart ways of handling that issue. Now, this national smart slum upgrading prevention strategy is also based on the National Development Program 3. How many of us know the NDP 3? These are some of the things that you should be knowing, because very soon when you go to apply for jobs, these are some of the government documents they will be asking you about. And this is public material. They are all over the place. Every program in government that we run is based on the National Development Plan 3. Right now we are 3. We started with 1, we went to 2, now we are 3. Every program we run in government, even the one of dealing with slums, has to base its root in the National Development Plan 3. Then it is also based on the parish development model. How many of us have heard of the parish development model? Yes, maybe you are also beneficiaries of parish development model. This is a strategy that government is using to extend services down to the lowest person in a community, and if you want to say, for the purposes of our lecture today, in informal settlements as well. Then it is also based, the strategy at national level of the National Smart Slum Upgrading and Prevention Strategy is also based on the Sustainable Development Goal number 11. Let me just listen to what it says. By 2023, ensure access for all to adequate, safe, and affordable housing and basic services, and upgrade slums. Slums, where now the informal settlements fall, slums. So this strategy did not just come from the blue. It is hinged on some of these policy documents that I have highlighted. This one it is also hinged on the National Urban Agenda, what I am calling NUA, National Urban Agenda. All these are documents within that drive city administration as far as our city is concerned. I've already talked about the parish development model and how it is relating to the issue of informal settlement. So I'll not go into that. Now I'll now come to where we are interested in as students of this university. I'm now going to give you an overview of the informal settlements in Kampala. I started by the national. Now I'm going to give the one in Kampala. Our city, Kampala, has a total area of 189 kilometers squared. That's about 73 square miles. And of those 73 square miles, 168 square miles of land, there are 68 square miles of land and 13 square miles of water. Now, of the 189 kilometers squared, 19.3 kilometers squared is where now we find informal settlements. Informal settlements take about 11% of our space as a city in Kampala. And looking at our population, according to the statistics that we have, Kampala has roughly a population of about 4 million, and 60% of those 4 million live in informal settlements. 60% of the 4 million people, which is about 2 point something, live in informal settlements. Now, this is a spatial presentation of how the informal settlements within Kampala, how they are spread across the board. There's one in, you may not see because maybe the projection is a bit far, but we have in Katwe Chinyoro, Nalukolongo, Ndeva, Chisenyi, Nakulabye Bwaise, Kazo, Kasubi, Kamocha, Chitintale, I think where you piloted your students, Chibuli, Kalerwe, Luzira, Chirombe, and blah, 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 blah. But the biggest is the one of Katwe Chinyoro, which has an area of about 1.5 kilometers squared, and the list is 0.02, which is in Namugongo. I am laboring to give this information because I know you will need it as you acquaint yourself with what did you call pattern what? Pattern language. Now, the strategies, some of the strategies that KCCA is employing to deal with the challenges of slums. Like I said, we have now gone smart. KCCA has embraced smart city concepts to address challenges of informal settlements. Now, in this chart here, you are seeing it is in our strategic plan, and we have smart environment, smart living, smart economy, smart people, smart governance, and smart mobility. If I am to just elaborate on just one or two, like smart mobility, now we are talking about non-motorized transport. Have we heard of NMT? Now we are developing NMT corridors. And those NMT corridors, we allow, at a certain extent, we allow traders to trade within those corridors to a certain extent. We're even thinking, and by the most of our traders are from the informal settlements. Whatever I'm telling you, just relate it to informal settlements. Most of these vendors who sell things, who do what, those small things, when you go to these NMT corridors, you will find very many of them transacting, especially in the evening and in the morning. We are trying to find a way of how do we, now we've seen the dangers it has to the NMT corridor, and now we are trying to see how do we address these challenges now that this trading is bringing to the corridor. That is going to be addressed in the new designs that are being proposed for some other spaces. This strategic plan, KCC also developed an information system strategic plan, what we call the ISSP 2020-2026, which is also referred to as the Smart City Strategic Plan. The Smart City Strategic Plan has 6 pillars, which I just highlighted: smart environment, smart living, smart economy, smart people, smart governance, smart mobility. That's the plan we have on how to deal with issues of informal settlements. Now, how do we do that? KCCA has different directorates through which this strategic plan is being implemented. I, for one, I am from the Directorate of Physical Planning, but there is a Directorate of Engineering that does the designs for the roads, the NMT I talked about. There's the Directorate of Public Health. We have projects like I will show you, and those projects are we were working through those projects to achieve our smart agenda on how to develop, on how to deal with the challenges of the KCCA. I will start with the one of Directorate of Physical Planning, where I am currently. What is the strategy? Remember, we talked about smart living and smart environment. If you're going to do that, if you're going to have a smart living, if you're going to achieve that and a smart environment, then you need to plan. Right now, we are doing what they call the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area Urban Development Master Plan Project. This is a project that is funded by JICA. It is a 3-year project. I will say that again. The Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area Urban Development Master Plan Project. It is a 3-year project. Under that project, we have the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area Physical Development Plan. What we are doing, remember when I started this lecture, I started by telling you that right now we are not only looking at KCCA, but we are also looking at what is happening outside in Mukono, in Wakiso, and in PG. So the funding has helped us to, right now there is a team, we are part of that team that is preparing this physical development plan for the 3 districts that where they intersect with Kampala, Mukono, Mpigi, and Wakiso. Nansana municipality in Wakiso, Chira municipality in Wakiso. We have Mukono municipality in Mukono. We are working together as a team to develop a Greater Kampala physical development plan. And one of the reasons is to deal with some of the issues that are overriding within the city. The focus is on rural areas. What can be done to ensure rural areas do not suffer from the effects of urban sprawl? Informal settlements are as a result of urban sprawl. If you understand what I mean by urban sprawl, do I need to explain it? I think they know. You know? Yes. So informal settlements are as a result of urban sprawl. Urban sprawl, in a nutshell, is the effect that happens to a city when people start moving in from upcountry. In a layman's language, when you migrate from your village, I migrate from Mainchi, and everybody, what happens to that space where we have gone? Some of us will buy houses in Kololo, others will go to stay in Chisenyi, others will move into environmentally fragile areas, and along the way, we start having challenges of informal settlements. So in this plan we are doing, we are trying to see how do we stop that from happening. And in that way, we are addressing the issue of informal settlements. It also has the project also is looking at the Greater Kampala Urban Growth Area, which we are calling GKUGA. And here we are concentrating on the rapidly urbanizing areas. The first physical development plan is concentrating on the rural areas. Now, in the GKUGA, we are looking at the urbanizing, those areas which are being urbanized very fast, like Entebbe Municipality, Chira Municipality, Mukono Municipality, Nansana Municipality, Kasangati Town Council, and Katabi in Entebbe Town Council. We are working together to see how do we plan our spaces to avoid creating more informal settlements in those spaces as they urbanize. And also, in that project, zeroing down to Kampala, we have what they call the Kampala Physical Development Plan, which has expired. According to our laws, physical development plans expire every after 10 years. So the one we have been using expired, I think last year or the other year. So JICA has given us funds to develop and to review another one. And in that which is being done, we are going to expand the CBD. We are going to shift industrial zones from the center to peripheral and attract high-tech businesses within the CBD. We are also going to deal with the issue of polluting environmentally sensitive areas, okay? And we are also proposing transit-oriented development. Transit-oriented development, we are going to create more spaces for bus, BRTs, what they call BRTs, rapid bus transits corridors within the some of where the CBD will have expanded. Now we hope that when we start to organize our city, like in the first doing a Greater Kampala Metropolitan Physical Development Plan, Greater Kampala Urban Growth Area Plan, the KPDP, that is the Kampala Physical Development Plan. We hope that in the interventions we are going to come up with, we should be able to concisely deal with the issue of slums. Right now, we have piloted certain projects, some projects. There is there's a project that was funded by European Union, the precinct. They funded on the basis of climate change. We were trying to see how do we make plans that address the problems of climate change. In that project, we came up with 4 precinct plans, 3 precinct plans, but the other 2 plans do not fall in informal settlements, so I'll not talk about them. I'll only talk about the knowledge precinct plan, which covers parts of Kawempe, Katanga, Makerere University, around that area, Chikoni, all those are, apart from Makerere University as an institution, but it's surrounded by the informal settlements. Now, we have decided to call that area a knowledge precinct. When you see Katanga, how many of us know where Katanga is? How many of us know? And how many of us know where Chikoni is? Okay, how many of us know University, Makerere University? Makerere University has what? The Eastern Gate. The Eastern Gate is the other side of Sir Apollo. Now, below Sir Apollo is where you now have Katanga, sorry, Chikoni. Now, it also has this other Western Gate in Wandegea. The Western Gate, below that Western Gate, that slum there you see is what they call Katanga. Okay, if you're in Wandegea, moving towards Bombo Road, Okubiri, on your right below is the Katanga area. If you're along Sir Apollo Kagwa Road, on your left as you move towards Bwaise, on your left, that is Chikoni. Now, in our detailed plan, we have decided that we are zoning that entire place as a knowledge precinct. Whatever activity we are going to allow in that space going forward will have to be feeding within the components of the knowledge precinct. If you want to open up a computer school in that area, we'll say it's okay. We will not allow bars. We will not allow any informal setting. Whatever it is you're going to do must be building onto the knowledge because of the institution, the monument we have, Makerere University. So that if students want to print anything, they find around there. If it's a computer training course, they find. If there are small courses, like how you see MBI, how many of us know MBI? Makerere Business Institute, such institutes, we gazette spaces for them within that space, which we have identified. And in that way, we are not pushing out the slums, but we are creating a situation where if you feel you cannot really be here anymore, you want to develop your land, but what you're going to develop is not in line with what we have said, then you can sell and move to another place. But we are systematically pushing you out, but we are not saying go. But we are also saying for those who are living in that space, if someone is willing to bring education there in terms of small courses, 3 months, 4 months, computer courses, these days people talk of beauty, what is it called? Beauticians, what is that course? Cosmetology, Is it cosmetics or something? Those small courses you can take to the knowledge precinct. In that way, the people in the informal settlements are benefiting if they can afford the service that you're giving. What you're seeing there is a detailed plan for the knowledge precinct. For purposes of you knowing more about this plan, I'll invite you to KCCA and we shall share these documents with you. Now, Other than detailed plan and master plan, we have what we call piecemeal planning. Piecemeal planning through land subdivisions or land readjustment policy or approaches. You find people in informal settlements, they own land and they have titles, and they want to subdivide that land. That is the chance that we now have to rectify the challenges, the bad shapes, the poor shapes, the issues of accessibility within the slums. Because when you submit your title to us, when you submit your application to us to do a subdivision and your plot has no access, we will tell you put an access. Are you seeing now how we are solving the problem of access in a slum? We'll tell you put an access on this plot. Maybe the plot is a triangle. We'll tell you no, we want at least some kind of square. So you go and buy from this neighbor, buy from the other one, and bring something so that you have at least some shape. If you are buying maybe 4 decimals or 5 decimals, we will tell you no, 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 no. At least make them 10. At least make them 8, or combine with your neighbor so that you own this plot 2 people, but you have a good shape and you have an access. Now that we do through piecemeal planning. What I have displayed here, this is a national housing estate in Namungona. How many of us know where Namungona is? On Hoima Road. Now, national housing estate. We worked with national housing to try and see how to do what, how to improve that space. And you can see from what we had started with that the space had started changing. But unfortunately, I think they got issues with some of the landowners and they could not proceed. But it was a good approach. And we encourage, recently we had a land conference where we invited different experts and we're encouraging them, please buy land in these spaces. Let's plan that land. Let's improve the conditions of our people staying in those places. Now, when we go to the to the Directorate of Public Health, what are we doing to address the challenges in the slums? You see, in the past, fecal matter in slums was the order of the day. People had no toilets. All the toilets were full. Some of them were discharging into public drains. Some of them were discharging into open spaces. Now, through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, we secured funds as KCCA to start the citywide inclusive sanitation project. Many people know it as Weyonje project. Now, this citywide inclusive sanitation project has a number of components, but there is one component that is directly related to the issues of slums, and that is the Weyonje project. Now, in that Weyonje, Weyonje campaign, what are we doing? We have what you see I've called BCC's behavior change campaign. In that component, we are doing a behavior change campaign to help our people understand that no, you cannot live without a toilet. Surely you can't do that. When you build a house, you must have a toilet. We are also doing incentivized emptying services, and this one started around COVID. During COVID, our people didn't have capacity to empty their toilets. So what KCCA is doing, the community does 10% and KCCA does 90%. Then we come and empty your toilets within. But this is for only the informal settlements. What you're seeing on the right, on the left, what you're seeing on the right, the picture you're seeing on the right is what they call I'm forgetting the name of these systems. God help. I'll remember along the way. But here, if you've seen how a borehole works, we go into these toilets which are full using this system, and they pump. They pump the fecal matter into a certain system. And then tukutukus carry that fecal matter where it is supposed to be. Have you seen that? You didn't know. But I'm now telling you, through this project, we are doing it in the slums. They go into a toilet, like what you see this gentleman is doing, and then they pump the material the material gets into a certain basket, which is now put on a tukutuku, and it is driven on the street. You will never know because we cover it, we seal it properly. That's why you don't know. But it is part of our smart approach in dealing with the issues of slums. It's called the gulper. What you're seeing there is called the gulper. But we still have issues with NEMA because depending on who is pumping, the things can really spill all over. So we are trying to adopt a second one. What you're seeing in the second picture, it's covered by words, but it is another system that is more refined than the gulper, which should be able to solve the issue that NEMA talked about. Lastly, through our Directorate of Engineering, we are trying to address the issue of drainage, flooding within these informal settlements. You recall in the past we had a lot of flooding around areas of Bwaise, okay? How many of us know that Lubiji channel? That Lubiji channel was a very small channel. But through the KIDIP project, which ended about last year, we were able to widen that channel, okay? Now, water, even if it rains how, water no longer floods around that section, okay? Even if it started raining and you will see. The people in the informal settlements have now benefited a lot because that time, water from the channel, because the channel was narrow, water would flood into their homes. And they would also first sit and wait for water to come down, then they go back home. For those who are found in their houses, they had to first wait for the water. Now, it has been dealt with through the widening of the channels across the board. This is not all that we are doing. It is just too much. I did not go into gender and to all the other things because we would never finish the lecture. But in a nutshell, we are using smart approaches to deal with the issues of that are created by informal settlements. With those many words, I want to say thank you so much for listening, and I pray that we can have a successful deliberation as we proceed with the lecture.
I'll hand over now to Mr. Nsubuga for his presentation.
So here we start. Review of Kampala's urban governance and major stakeholders involved. When you hear about the word governance, what runs into your mind? I'll tell you that governance is about association, it's about lifestyle, it's about values. As we all know that Kampala is the capital city of Uganda. Currently, we have quite a number of other cities that have come on board, but Kampala has been the first since independence in 1962. In 1893, when the Bazungu were here, they came and agreed to make Kampala the capital city. But between 1893 and 1962, the capital city, administrative capital city, was shifted to Entebbe, and Kampala became the commercial city. But before independence, on 8th October 1962, those powers were brought back, and Kampala is the current capital city of Uganda since then. We have a few notes about the geography, where Kampala is lying, and its location. The area is 169 square kilometers. You'll see as we go along, we have 5 divisions, and the area is distributed along. The topography there is also well listed. I talked about governance because that is what we are covering. And I want to move along with you because I can see you vibrant students who are going to be full-baked. If you look at governance, here you will see that it's the proper functioning of institutions, their acceptance by the public, or in one word, we can call it legitimacy. Legitimacy. The reason we are here, we are trying to read hard at the end of the day, be awarded a bachelor's degree in what? Architecture, right? So the moment you get that, you'll have qualified and you'll be a legitimate person who, if you go along to practice and register, you become a registered architect. So in whatever we do, governance looks at legitimacy. We are working for an institution called KCCA. Is KCCA legitimized? We shall see along. Have you heard about government parastatals agencies that are now being merged? Do you know the reason they have taken long to be merged? It's dealing with issues of legitimacy, issues of laws. Anything to be legitimized, it must be within the confines of the law. But now for purposes of our profession, for us to look at standardization. Whatever we design, it must be within the confines of standards. Governance, the way you hear it, it has got its core principles. What are those driving factors? The way you hear a car or you see a car. What makes a car? You say that a car must have tires. If you are talking about a house, let us use an example that we are well familiar with. We are architects. We are going to design buildings. And you'll submit plans to us as planners to review them. But we have those components, those principles that you must move along with. For a plan to be approved, it must have a location plan. It must have a site plan. I'm hoping that what I'm talking about you're well acquainted with, or you haven't studied it as yet, but you will study it. So as governance, it has its pillars or its principles. And if you're talking about governance, you have to mention the things, the legitimacy. What makes KCCA to be KCCA? Do I just wake up and say, now I'm employed by KCCA, or now I want to create my own institution called KCCA? So back in your mind, whatever we do, the word legitimacy has to be there. And it's basically the reason why government is coming up with a number of laws. Whatever we do is being governed by laws. We are the university here, but our university is registered by the National Council of Higher Education. Short of that, it ceases to be a university. I know many of you are reading hard, so that when you finish university, you get money, you buy a car. But driving that car, you'll need to be legitimate. The only way you can be legitimate is by having a driving license. I'm a married man, and I've been married for quite a number of years. But sometimes, you know Uganda word called Kawondo Kakubya Dirisa? You've heard about it? Being someone when you haven't yet legitimized. So legitimizing means you go to the parents. After the parents, they give you a certificate, they give you a leeway. Then you go to the church. You're trying to legitimize. So whatever we do on this planet Earth, there are laws and regulations governing all the activities. KCCA as an institution, I can see KCCA as a vision. And the vision is, KCCA, it wants our city to be a vibrant. Do you hear the word? Vibrant. I'm here presenting to you. Don't you think that I'm a vibrant man? Don't I have energy? Am I boring you? I have energy. So we also want to have a city that is vibrant. And remember our profession, we are architects. We are the guys who are going to design those nice buildings. We are the guys going to design all the beautiful, landscape designs that we shall appreciate. And once we have them there, people will move in the city and say, oh, this city is beautiful. This city is vibrant. It has life. A vibrant person you must have life. You've heard about, if they say that I'm vibrating, shaking, that is life. We have another component here of sustainability or sustainable, being a vibrant, attractive, and a sustainable city. Now, sustainable city means something that is everlasting. You've heard about something they call sustainable development. Simply meaning that we, the current generation, or with the people who are still here, let us enjoy the service that we have, but without compromising the ability of the future generation to also enjoy the same. Are we together? So you as an architect, can you do something if you to design a house where the owners will die, the children will also live in that house, and nothing will be changed? The mission is to deliver quality services. When you talk about quality, quality is something that is outstanding, not below average, outstanding. If you to pass, you must pass with A+. then there you're outstanding. And I know most of you here are passing with flying colors, not so? Now, core values, we are looking at human resource. What makes a person to be he or she a good person? Which values are we talking about? Where we work, KCCA as an institution, client care. You must care about people. The citizen, the urban dwellers. You're going to finish up here with your degrees and you're going to out in the field. But how are you going to be handling the customers? Sometimes it's not all about money, but even the way you talk to them, the way you care about them. Are we together? In conclusion, we wanted to look at urban governance. I wanted to give you a preamble of governance and the stakeholders that are involved. The stakeholders, we have seen that they are politicians. Haven't you seen them? Yeah? They are politicians. We have also seen that they are technical personnel. Me, I'm a technical person. We have seen that they are citizens, because you are citizens here. But as KCCA, you have a duty to provide services to you. Not so? Those are stakeholders. We have seen that there are donors who give us money to implement the different projects. Not so? And a number of other stakeholders. So in one way or another, I want to thank you for being good students who have listened to me.
Thank you for your presentations. My question will go to, I have a question for Mr. Makya and Mr. Nsubuga. The first one, in Mr. Makya's presentation, he highlighted that one of the causes of informal settlements was this, it's an effect of decentralization. And you explained how governance-wise, there's a system for how the power structure flows. So I wanted to understand, like, how does decentralization lead to informal settlements? And then also, how do the technical and the political wings sync their work together? Because the politics and technical side don't seem to mix so well.
Now I want you to listen carefully, because tomorrow you're going to be the money bags. Tomorrow you're going to be the people who are taking the lead. Now, decentralization, it gave a lot of power to politicians. You get my point? And we are supposed to survive with them. So these politicians, in one way or another, for them, they are looking at votes. For us, we are looking at organized environment. You get my point? So in one way, there is a collision. But I'm so happy that you guys are focused. This one, I'm also going to take back this feedback. I've also learned a lot from you, and I appreciate this time here has been really enriching. Thank you for that. I hope next time we shall keep on interacting. We shall even call you where we work from so that we can appreciate the things live. We take you to the different offices. The mayor sits here, the executive director sits here, planner sits here. They even interact. Because now you know what KCCA is about, you know the governance, you know, you need to touch base with the reality, and I know you're going to make up good professionals. I thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Dubois Kazingofu, an architectural student of East Africa University, and I welcome you to today's week's class of pattern language, where we had two representatives from the KCCA Directorate of Physical Planning, Mr. Emmanuel Makya and Mr. Douglas Nsubuga. And they came to give us a lecture about informal settlement in Kampala, and as well as the government within KCCA. It was really a good lecture where we got to learn how important it is to have planned cities, to have our city planned and well arranged, and to look at everyone as we are doing this process.
Hope you enjoyed watching this lesson. Stay tuned and catch us next week. Bye-bye.